Ah, it's that special time of year again. The snow is falling, the streets are lighting up with color, and the warm glow of the fireplace is setting the mood perfectly. It's the holiday season. Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate. It's that time of year. If there's one theme that all of these holidays share, it's that the gift of giving is better than the gift of receiving. In the world of gaming, we like working hard to achieve whatever it is we want, but sometimes it's nice to see that the game is friendly enough to just simply give us things. And that's what we're looking at today, the top 10 gifts in video games. Back in the Super Nintendo days, if a game had a connection to Disney, it was going to be absolutely fantastic. Aladdin is a prime example of that statement. I was constantly playing this game, and it was one of the best platformers back in the day. In terms of weapons, you didn't really have that much. There were apples, which kinda sucked. But more importantly, there was the rug. This thing gave you so much joy when you got a hold of it. You were able to glide like it was nobody's business. At the beginning of each level, you'd lose it and would have to find it again. And you can bet your sweet ass that I did everything in my power to get a hold of it, just so I could go whee again. I mean, sure, it's nothing too cool, but hey, enjoy the little things. Nothing like a good zombie game to get you in the holiday spirit. Left 4 Dead is pretty much the anti-zombie game. There's no real strategy, you can take on hordes upon hordes of zombies, and you'll most likely never run out of items. It's unrealistic, super over the top, and I love it. What I especially love are the very convenient safe houses. Right as I'm always getting into a pickle, there's one of these havens for me and the gang to take shelter. What's even better is that they're always stocked with an overabundant amount of supplies. Like, seriously, there's weapons, first aid kits, and a seemingly infinite amount of ammunition. This place has it all. Some of them are also pretty nice. I don't know why we can't just stay here and wait for the whole zombie apocalypse to blow over. Well, regardless, they're super convenient and have almost everything you need in a time like this. I never thought I'd say this, but thank you, government. Ugh. There's not too much you can say about Donkey Kong. Monkeys, bananas, gophers, and balloons. The end. However, trying to fight off King K. Rool's army is much easier said than done. Some enemies you can jump on, some you have to roll into, and others you need to dodge entirely. If only there was a way to make things easier. Rambi. Rambi is the solution. He kills everything. There's a lot of animal creatures in the Donkey Kong Country games that help you out, but none are as loved or powerful as our little rhino friend. He even comes in a box, all wrapped up in everything. I mean, he probably didn't put himself in there. It was probably King K. Rool. So thank you. Thank you for making it easier to destroy your army. If you know anything about me, it's that I love and constantly talk about the Tales series. I love them, I'm sorry if that's annoying. My favorite, however, is Tales of Symphonia. In a nutshell, the story involves a chosen of regeneration who needs to save the world, and her friend Lloyd wants to tag along. However, Lloyd's dad doesn't want him to go because it's dangerous and whatnot. He obviously doesn't listen and leaves anyway. Right before he leaves though, his dad catches him, and instead of trying to stop Lloyd, he gives him a bunch of items and equipment to better prepare him for the journey ahead. The items themselves aren't that useful or important, but it's the motive behind the gifts that matter, believing in his son to make his own decisions as a man and helping him out any way he now can. Pokemon is a happy game. Everything about it is just so upbeat and energetic. When you're finally ready to head out and take the world head on, the good professor will stop you and help better prepare you for the journey ahead. Choosing your Pokemon starters is one of the most iconic and most difficult decisions any gamer has had to make. That's a lot of pressure to put on someone, but we all eventually figured out our starters and would stick to that in every installment. I like the Fire Pokemon. This game definitely knows how to keep up with the giving spirit, and if there's any franchise that deserves to be this friendly, it's definitely Pokemon. So far, this list has consisted of situations where the game has given us, the player, items or presents. So, I thought it would be nice to have at least one instance where the player gave a nice little gift to someone or something in the game. And who better for a perfect candidate than the Lumas? They're just so cute and happy for no reason whatsoever. So yeah, whenever I get the chance, I'm gonna do whatever I can to make them happy. And in this case, it would be feeding them a large amount of star bits. I don't know why this is pleasant to them, but hey, who am I to judge? As long as they're happy, I'm happy. Let's be real here. We all had a phase in our lives where we wanted to become skateboarders. It looked cool and we wanted to be cool. Now I can't speak for everyone, but when I eventually tried it, 11 times out of 10 I ended up on the ground. So I eventually just said f it and moved on to playing skateboarding video games. Tony Hawk Underground was one of my favorites and has a really awesome moment with your created character and pro skater Chad Muska. You do some skating that impresses him and eventually comes up and talks to you. He brings up how beat up and ugly your skateboard is. Your character then mentions that he doesn't exactly have the money to get it replaced. At that moment, Muska makes an instant connection with him and even gives your guy one of his own skateboards. Now in the grand scheme of things, he really just gave you a piece of wood with wheels. But its meaning is much more than that. It's a guy who saw potential and even a piece of himself inside this humbled kid, and gave him something that would mean the world to him. Also, Muska says this.
And yo, Merry Christmas.
Thanks!
Of course, you saw this coming. This is one of the most iconic gifts in history. Literally, this should be in textbooks. The game starts up and where do you immediately go? No, seriously, this is a question. What direction should you go? This way. Whatever direction this is. Walking into that cave with that old man and a sword just sitting there like it was waiting specifically for you, and that text that comes up with the famous phrase, "It's dangerous to go alone, take this," should hit you like a nostalgia train. Now I understand that not everyone enjoys using the sword. Some people are just too MLG for me. I need the sword. I suck. Regardless of how you play, everyone knows about this guy, and we thank him for that, allowing us to start our journey to save the land of Hyrule well prepared. Mario 3 was one of the best entries in the series, and is also one of my favorite Mario games. The overworld was one of the main features I liked about the game. It was really pretty to look at, and I loved seeing where everything was visually. My favorite thing, however, were the Toad houses. I always rushed to these things as soon as I had the chance. Whenever I was playing with a friend, it was always a competition to see who could get there first. Once inside, you're given an option of not one, but 3 treasure chests that contain a special item. It's just a nice feeling to go into that item house, see Toad just standing there, letting that music play in the background while you're making your choice. Now this might just be my nostalgia talking, but I love everything about this scene. Banjo and Kazooie is one of the best platforming action-adventure puzzle games to ever be released. The game is so enormous and immersive that there's a ton of things you can consider to be gifts in this game. Am I talking about Jiggies? No. What about Jinjos? Still, no. What about any other collectible in the game? I'll spare you the trouble. No. The best present anyone could ask for in any game is Kazooie. Let me explain. Banjo and Kazooie are a duo. They need each other. Without one, the other is useless. A lot of things in this world are expendable, meaning that if they break, they can always just be replaced. One thing that can never, ever be replaced is someone very close to you. Be it a family member, a friend, whatever. These are the gifts that matter the most, the ones that remind us to cherish everything that's important to us, and the things and people that are literally one of a kind. This isn't just limited to Banjo and Kazooie. This goes for anyone that has a strong relationship with anyone or anything. It's important to remember that the gift of giving is better than the gift of receiving. But the gift of loving one another is the greatest gift of all. And those are my top 10 gifts in video games. Now you might have found number 1 to be a little cheesy or corny, but hey, it's the holiday season. If there's ever a time to be like that, it's now. So, I hope you enjoyed the video, and have a fantastic holiday season. Whatever it is you celebrate, make it awesome.